Good evening. Well, I've been predicting it for many, many months. I always thought it was going to happen. I thought it had to happen. I felt in so many ways that Boris Johnson was elected as a Conservative but governed as a Liberal. To many Conservative thinkers, his policies on economics and on social affairs were frankly unrecognisable. But in the end, it was the evasions, the cover-ups, the untruths, the lies, if you want to use that word, that did for him. And when the end came, as it always does in these cases, it came very, very quickly. By breakfast time this morning, the number of resignations of cabinet ministers, junior ministers, PPSs was up to 59. I mean, the whole thing was becoming farcical. It was almost sort of carry-on Prime Minister. So the inevitable did come. Boris Johnson gave that speech in Downing Street. He said he was sad, and yet in a very funny way, it almost looked in his demeanour that a weight had been lifted off him. There are some out there very critical of the fact that he didn't show any contrition whatsoever for what was said over lockdown and indeed over the Pincher case. Well, they maybe have a point. He also had a bit of a barb when he said it was a very eccentric thing to do to get rid of a Prime Minister who, despite months of sledging, was only a few pips behind in the polls. But he said the herd in Westminster had moved, and once it moves, it moves. The herd meaning they're all pretty stupid, really. But look, that was an important speech for Boris Johnson, and I'm not going to criticise him for it. He's actually been through a pretty tough 3 years, and we'll talk about that and examine that. But, and here's the point, he fully intends to stay in number 10 with a newly appointed cabinet, and he intends to be there until the Conservative leadership contest is over. Already, there are some speaking out. Lord Frost says he should go now, as he's lost the confidence of the party in Parliament. John Major wants him gone. Dominic Cummings says the guy's a maniac. Leave him in Downing Street for another 10 weeks and goodness knows what havoc he might wreak. And so I want to debate tonight with you, the audience, and with my guests, should he go now? My own feeling is no. My own feeling is don't kick a man when he's down. Yes, I've had very big policy disagreements with Boris Johnson, but I want to say this. His intervention in the referendum campaign, and it may have come relatively late for those of us who spent a quarter of a century fighting for it, but his involvement in that campaign was important. Equally, his winning that general election with that big majority in 2019 was crucial. Otherwise, I feared we were heading towards absolute chaos and a second referendum. I honestly don't believe he's going to do anything crazy and stupid in the next few weeks. And I'm told by friends inside the Conservative Party that when the 1922 committee meet next week, they will whittle down to a short list of 2, get it out to the members, so this can all be decided by the 3rd week in August. So my view is he should be allowed to see out the next few weeks until we get a new leader. My fear, and my fear is for the Conservative Party, is there are many that won't let this rest. And after all, I guess they did resign on the basis that he'd lost integrity, he'd lost trust. And you may well see, come next week, another bout of Tory Civil War style infighting. We will see.